Local health leaders call on civic leaders to take action to flatten the curve. We look at Missouri legislation that would expand liability protections for healthcare workers.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The U.S. has recorded more than 100,000 new COVID-19 cases per day over the last 14 days. Those numbers are much higher than they were early in the pandemic. Now 28 states have tightened restrictions. Chris Martinez has more.
Open! Cali! Open!
A chance to reopen California from business owners who learned most of the state's indoor businesses must close, operate at a fraction of capacity, or move outside. Many restaurant owners believe they're being unfairly targeted and say the virus will keep spreading with people gathering inside homes.
They're not wearing masks, they're not washing their hands, they're not serving food properly.
California is experiencing its fastest increase, and in most counties, gyms have closed too.
Masks were mandatory, but no one was really wearing it. So I understand why they closed the gyms.
California's governor has also announced he's strengthening the mask mandate. Residents statewide must now wear masks whenever they're outdoors. In the Midwest, where cases are also surging, 7 governors released a joint announcement urging residents to stay COVID safe this holiday.
It's more important now than ever that we double down on mask wearing.
In Iowa, air ambulances are working around the clock, transporting COVID patients to overwhelmed hospitals.
We're working our butts off here. We're trying to do our part. We would love for everyone to do their part because we're exhausted.
On Tuesday, Iowa passed 2,000 coronavirus deaths. It's averaging 20 deaths per day, triple the rate from just 2 months ago. In Wisconsin, children's hospitals are starting to admit adult patients from overwhelmed hospitals. And in Oklahoma, some hospitals are sending patients to neighboring states for treatment.
This is real, and we're in a hospital crisis.
Pennsylvania is now reporting more than 5,000 daily infections, up more than 115% in just 2 weeks. With deaths also rising, health officials strengthened the mask mandate and ordered anyone entering the state be tested within 72 hours, including residents who leave for Thanksgiving. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Ohio's governor just announced a 3-week retail curfew. Stores must close at 10 p.m. Hawaii has issued a new statewide mask mandate, which says businesses must refuse service to customers not wearing a face covering. And New Orleans city officials, they just announced there will be no Mardi Gras parades in 2021. Mercy and Freeman officials say they're becoming overwhelmed with COVID-19 patients. Now health officials are calling on city leaders for a mask mandate to try to get things under control. As of today, Mercy has 50 COVID patients, 16 people on ventilators. Both of Freeman's COVID units are full, and that's affecting wait times for ER visits. The same story at Mercy. The Jasper County Health Department says that in the past 7 days, they've averaged 81 new cases per day. And today the county reported 5 more deaths. Based on data and hospital resources, experts say something has to change, especially with holidays approaching. Freeman Dr. Robert McNabb says families need to ask themselves tough questions.
Would you trade one Thanksgiving with your loved ones to get 25 more Thanksgivings with your loved one, right? I think that's some of the calculus that we need to think about.
Dr. McNabb said he hopes a mask mandate will be instated ahead of the holidays. Joplin Mayor Ryan Stanley says once he's had a discussion with the leadership of both Jasper and Newton counties, he'll update Joplin City Council and discuss how to proceed. The mayors of Carthage, Carl Junction, and Webb City said in a joint statement they encourage people to wear masks. And that brings us to tonight's KOAM News Now Insta poll. Today's question: would you support a mask mandate in your community? You can vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. The results are updated live, and we're going to check back on the final results a little bit later. The Missouri legislature is focusing on legal protections for organizations during the pandemic. During a special session, lawmakers have been discussing expanded liability protections for healthcare providers, businesses, schools, and churches during this pandemic. The goal is to prevent frivolous lawsuits as organizations try to adjust to changing restrictions and guidelines. But a local attorney says it's a bad idea because there's already a process for handling meritless claims.
This is another example of nursing homes, healthcare providers, insurance companies trying to protect themselves and their profits at the expense of innocent people. Because it's not a choice between is there going to be harm or not, okay? The question is, if somebody's at fault, start there. If they're a wrongdoer, are they going to pay for the harms they caused?
There is not protection for the really bad actor out there, the one who intentionally is doing something really bad.
The special session had to be paused due to COVID-19 cases in the Capitol. The session should resume after Thanksgiving. Oklahoma restaurants and bars are preparing for new COVID-19 related restrictions. Governor Kevin Stitt yesterday announced restaurants and bars would be required to close at 11 p.m. and the tables are going to have to be spaced at least 6 feet apart. We caught up with employees at Zach's Cafe in Miami who say they're prepared to follow the new rules.
Not currently. We've already started. We started social distancing our tables on the previous shutdown after we got to open back up. The face masks we haven't done, but we will do.
The governor's restrictions go into effect on Thursday. Nick Kelly joins us now with a first look at the weather. The temperature has been pretty consistent the last couple of days. Starts cool and then warms up.
We hit the nail on the head exactly. That's exactly how we unfolded temperature-wise today. We started cold at 33 this morning at Joplin Regional, but a nice jump. We doubled that number with the afternoon high today of 66 degrees. We kept skies mostly clear once again today, and it's going to stay that way throughout the course of the night. No immediate storm systems on the way in, but I am watching our next front that is working across the western U.S. We're already seeing some more rain and even some higher elevation snow, especially in the mountains of California, as a result of that storm system beginning to work on through. Around here, though, we're keeping quiet, but we're getting kind of cool once again, upper 40s to lower 50s, the main temperatures that we're seeing across the board. Thankfully, a south wind's going to pick up through the night. That'll keep us out of the 30s, but we're looking at a cool start with most of us around 44 in the morning, but that south wind is eager to kick into gear and push us back near 70 for afternoon highs tomorrow. We'll break down the next few days, including our next chance for rain here in a bit, though.
I will catch you then. As Thanksgiving quickly approaches, a lot of people are concerned about gatherings due to the pandemic. KOAM's Caitlin Shive talked with an etiquette expert on how to handle changes to Thanksgiving plans this year.
Thanksgiving has been a huge holiday for Elizabeth Tinknell's family for the past 50 years.
Our Thanksgiving is never just a one-day Thanksgiving. It was a week, because we'd have house guests and we'd have dinner guests. And so we've done this for long, and it was our big family holiday.
But this year they have made the decision to cancel their Thanksgiving gathering because of the pandemic.
Between children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, probably 6 different households that would be represented, and there was just too much risk involved.
She says communicating this decision was quite easy with her family as they were all open about their concerns.
It was difficult for each of us to tell the others that we needed to do it. I think individually we all knew it, and that's probably what made it easier, because I didn't have anybody say, "But Grandma."
But it may not be easy for some. Etiquette expert Valerie Sokolowski gave some advice on how to handle changes to Thanksgiving plans this year, whether you are hosting a gathering.
The hostess needs to remember that she's the hostess, and she can very easily and graciously set the ground rules, even if it's family, and particularly if it's any other than family.
But also what to do if you have concerns as a guest.
To call or send an email to the hostess and say, I'm very sensitive to what the ground rules may be. I want to be appropriate in how I show up so that we can all enjoy this beautiful meal you have planned. So please tell me what to expect.
Sticking with 5 simple rules to enjoy the holiday during unprecedented times.
Stay gracious, have a good attitude, be respectful, and do everything you can within yourself to not take things personally and to show up with a strong presence.
Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
You can find this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, along with some tips and suggestions for Thanksgiving this year from the CDC. The Carthage Crisis Center will move forward with its tradition of providing Thanksgiving meals to people in need, but due to the pandemic, those meals will be delivered. More than 30 volunteers are ready to box up about 300 five-course meals. It'll be delivered by another 10 to 12 volunteers. If you're in need of a meal, you're asked to call the Crisis Center to sign up. Still ahead, President-elect Joe Biden's office announces the selection of a number of senior staff members. And mortgage debt hits a near record high as the U.S. housing market soars. President-elect Joe Biden today met with national security experts and announced new White House appointments. Meanwhile, President Trump has ordered a drawdown of troops in the Middle East, which could affect the beginning months of a Biden administration. Reporter Michael George is in Wilmington, Delaware, with more.
The Biden-Harris transition team has announced several more incoming White House senior staff picks. Among them is Louisiana Congressman Cedric Richmond, who will vacate his seat to become a senior advisor and director of the Office of Public Engagement.
This new role will allow me to offer advice to the president when he wants it, maybe sometimes when he doesn't want it.
President-elect Joe Biden spoke by phone with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu before meeting with a group of outside national security experts. President Trump continues to block his own administration from giving high-level intelligence briefings. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris joined the president-elect's briefing virtually from Capitol Hill.
I think that we want to make sure that we are all focused on the priorities of the moment.
Later on the Senate floor, she was congratulated by her colleagues, Democrats and Republicans. The national security meeting here in Delaware comes as the president has called for a major reduction of U.S. troops in the Middle East. That order would be carried out just days before the president-elect is set to take office.
Effective January 15, 2021, American troops in both countries will go to 2,500 personnel.
A senior Afghanistan official told CBS News a premature withdrawal could embolden the Taliban to continue violent attacks.
I think a precipitous drawdown in either Afghanistan or Iraq would be a mistake.
The announced troop reduction falls short of the president's stated campaign goal of bringing all U.S. forces home from Afghanistan by Christmas. Michael George, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
First Lady Melania Trump's chief of staff announced on Twitter this evening that she and President Trump will celebrate Thanksgiving at the White House. Low interest rates have helped the U.S. housing market soar. Last quarter, America's mortgage debt hit a record high of nearly $10 trillion. Data show more people are buying houses and refinancing their mortgages. At the beginning of this month, mortgage rates fell to a record low, the 12th record low in 2020. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York released the numbers today. It's not just home loans that are booming, auto loans are surging as well. Auto loans and leases debt climbed to the highest level on record, $1.3 trillion. A little bit later, we're going to have results of our KOAM News Now Insta poll question on whether you'd support another mask mandate in your community. Plus, a Carthage High School baseball player is moving across the state line to play college ball.
But first, a few more mild days to enjoy before rain sneaks back into the forecast. We'll break it all down next. We kept things nice and quiet once again today, resulting in yet another cold start with lows in the lower to middle 30s, but warming up nicely because of the plentiful sunshine we saw from indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri, and all across the area today. This and a light southeast breeze is what did the trick, taking us from the cold start this morning to the middle to upper 60s this afternoon. Ever since we hit sunset, though, no wonder and no surprise, we got chilly fast once again. 52 in Joplin with the south breeze at 10, starting to crank up a little bit, and again, that is going to help us out this time around. We're not looking at a cold night ahead of us, fortunately, but we'll still see quite a cool start to the morning ahead. In fact, Pittsburgh's already cool at 48 degrees, 51 in Oronogo, Webb City, 53 in CJ, and down in Seneca, we have 55s from Commerce down to Miami, while our northern counties are already trying to sneak back into the middle to upper 40s at this point in the late night during the 10 o'clock hour. Again, this was that light southeast breeze that kept us mild again throughout the course of the day, but that breeze out of the south is starting to pick back up. It'll do so at about 5 to 15, maybe 10 to 20 miles per hour overnight. It will do the trick to keep us out of the cold, but we will still see overnight lows dropping off into the mid-40s, but it'll be ready to send us back near 70 for certainly a mild and windy Wednesday ahead of us. At least we're still quiet on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. We're actually in between two systems. We're in between high pressure over the Ohio River Valley and our next system out to the west. We already have a warm front clipping us to the north, and that's going to continue to bring that south wind back into gear tomorrow. It's not until the weekend where we get this cold front in here, and that's going to bring rain chances along with it. Until we can get this upper low out of the Gulf of Alaska, though, to encourage the cold front to move along, we're still under the influence of this upper level ridge, and that will keep us mild and dry for sure for a few more days. And we'll do it again for tonight. Mostly clear skies, and thankfully that south wind picking up keeps us in the 40s this time for overnight lows. I'm thinking most of us in the mid 40s. Let's say Joplin bottoms out around 44 before we hit sunrise in the morning. Then that south breeze at 5 to 15 kicks up to 10 to 20 miles per hour. Even some gusts pushing 25 to 30 during the afternoon. That'll certainly push us into the mid 60s by lunchtime, and pushing 69 for afternoon highs in Joplin. Everybody is fair game, though, to go back into the upper 60s and even lower 70s before the afternoon ahead of us is all said and done. Even though we're still under the influence of this upper level ridge come Thursday, it starts sliding off to the east before it departs. We'll say partly sunny and lower 70s for your Thursday. Then here comes Friday. The upper level low still working across the western U.S., but it's got enough oomph to send that cold front to the west our way. Could start with some afternoon showers on Friday, but with that next front on the way, I'm thinking the better rain chances certainly pick up for Saturday and as we go through Sunday. Quick look at the rain amounts with this weekend storm system. It's looking kind of promising. If we can hold on to these early numbers that we're seeing here, we could see possibly 1 to 2.5 inches of rain before we get a little break in the action come Monday on the backside of that storm system. But 69, mostly sunny tomorrow, 72 Thursday, 70 still for a mild Friday, even with the clouds and the rain chances picking up. And once we get the backside of the system out here on Sunday, Dow, we'll go back to 52. And a dry Monday ahead of us.
We'll have to enjoy these milder temperatures while they're here, I guess.
We certainly will.
Thanks, Nick. Still ahead, a Galena High School softball player is moving up to Division I Auburn. We're going to hear from Riley McNeamer about what it means to her to get the chance to play on such a big stage. And a current Tiger is set to become a Gorilla. We're going to hear from the senior about his plans to cross the state line to play baseball.
Well, today is a big day for Galena High School senior Riley McNeamer. McNeamer signed this afternoon to continue her softball career at Division I Auburn University in Alabama. Now, McNeamer is a two-time All-State selection for the Bulldogs. She missed her junior season last spring due to COVID-19. Now, McNeamer has been recruited to play second base for the Tigers. Get this Auburn recruiting class that she's a part of is ranked one of the best recruiting classes in the country.
I am ready. I have been ready for 4 years now, so I think that it will be a very big jump, but I think I'm ready for it.
She's always in the cages getting extra reps, playing all year round. I mean, she's well prepared for SEC softball.
Being a power hitter from the right side, I really need to work on just hitting the ball every time with power.
Now, while McNeamer signed today to play at Auburn, she's actually been committed to the Tigers program since 2017. To Carthage High School now, senior Caden Kralichek also signing his letter of intent today. Kralichek is crossing the state line to play for Pittsburgh State next year. He'll play middle infield for Bob Fornelli and the Gorillas. Kralichek says Fornelli and the rest of the coaching staff is a big reason he chose Pittsburgh State.
They would just text me every day. They would just make me feel at home. If I wanted anything from there, they would give it to me. And they would give me my space, but it just felt like my other parents.
At Baxter Springs High School, they had 4 student athletes sign this afternoon. Allie Fry there is joining the softball program at Fort Scott Community College. All-state player Riley Bush signed today to play at Cowley County. Then these last 2 guys are going to stay teammates. Zach Beeler and Brandon Kelly signed today to play at Ottawa University. Wichita State men's basketball head coach Greg Marshall has resigned as the leader of the program. His resignation comes after an internal investigation into allegations of physical and verbal abuse of players and assistant coaches. Now, Marshall is the winningest coach in Wichita State history. He led the Shockers to 8 NCAA tournament appearances, including making the Final Four in 2013. Marshall said in a statement today, quote, "This was a difficult decision, but one I feel was necessary for my family, the university, and the student athletes." That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran, Sergeant Jamie Schultz. The Westphalia, Kansas native served in the U.S. Army. And we're proud to salute Jamie Schultz. He's tonight's four-state hero. Let's check in on tonight's KUAM News Now Insta poll. A final look. Today's question was, would you support a mask mandate in your community? The overwhelming majority, 76%, said yes, they would support that mandate. The poll is now closed. Thanks for participating. Conan O'Brien is ending his nearly 30-year run as a late-night TV host, but the comedian has some big plans in the works. He'll host a new weekly variety series for Warner Media's new streaming service, HBO Max. O'Brien's weekly late-night show on TBS will end after its 10th season in June. No word on when O'Brien's new variety show will debut, but I'm sure he has a lot to offer ahead. He's a funny guy. Weather looking mild again.
Yeah, and bright again tomorrow with highs back near 69, 72 Thursday. A few more nice dry days to enjoy before rain chances sneak back in here for the weekend.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.